how this system functions. Madam, the price of petrol at the retail point or the bunk is determined by the international price, the cost of insurance and freight, the exchange rate, refining margins, and a number of factors. This particular issue on how much cess and tax has been collected has to be seen both in the context of the overall context in which we are operating. The period that he has mentioned, 2021, I should say that 2021 means 1st April of 21 to 31st March of 21. That is precisely the period during which there was a complete lockdown in the economy. That financial year starts on 1st April. The lockdown took place from 25th March, which meant that at that point of time, there was virtually no activity. Now, at that point of time, certain taxes were raised, and they were raised for a particular purpose. But the ultimate test of this is, what is the price at which petrol and petroleum products are supplied to the consumer? And I have a very interesting analysis.
Honourable Minister, please be brief so that the second question can
Well, I thought, Madam, if you were, I'm very happy to be brief, but let me also share with him some facts. The fact of the matter is, when the situation so warranted, from 4th November of 21, we brought down the excise on petrol and diesel by 5 rupees and 10 rupees. But I would have thought that the all elected representatives should be rejoicing at the fact that the price paid by the consumer has remained steady during that period. But I don't see that. In fact, one prominent youth leader made a statement on 5th March.
Honourable Minister, kindly reply to his answer. This is not a debate.
Well,
just a direct reply to his answer. Please.
I am answering.
Please reply the question.
I am very happy to answer the question,
reply
Madam.
the question directly and keep it short.
The question is, raising of taxes, levying of taxes are done depending on the situation at that point of time.
Okay,
today we have brought down the taxes.
Supplementary number 2.
Madam, he is standing. He is standing. How can I ask question?
When the state collects, we brought down the central excise. 9 states still have not brought down the excise. We are willing to take such steps as are necessary to control the price at the bunk.
Honourable member, please ask your second supplementary.
Out of the tax collected, 45% or so goes to the state government, 55 or 60%. I would...
Honourable Minister, yes. Now,
Madam, let me again reiterate that in a situation in which from the last 2 years characterized by the pandemic and in the last few weeks of a war or a military action taking place between Russia and the Ukraine, the government will explore all options which are available. There are reports and there are contacts. I myself have had a conversation with the appropriate levels of the Russian Federation. These are discussions currently underway. Several issues which will require both how much oil is available either in Russia or in new markets or in new suppliers which may be coming on the market, and issues relating to insurance, freight, and a host of other things, and the payment arrangements. I would be delighted, Madam, on the first opportunity, whenever these arrangements are worked out between our oil companies and their counterparts in the Russian Federation, or our oil companies in Iran or other countries where more oil is coming up. It's a dynamic, evolving situation characterized by military warfare, when I would be happy if some of that military quotient is less here and I could get a chance to explain to my distinguished colleague in greater detail. Madam, मैं ऑनरेबल मेंबर को बताना चाहूंगा कि ये जो पेट्रोल और डीजल के दाम हैं 2010 में पेट्रोल के जून 2010 में और अप्रैल शायद 2014 में उसके आसपास ये डीरेगुलेट कर दिए गए। डीरेगुलेशन का मतलब ये है कि ये जो दाम है, these will be determined by international prevailing prices. Administered price mechanism खत्म कर दिया गया था। क्यों कर दिया गया था, उसके क्या कारण थे, we can have a detailed discussion on that. आज स्थिति ये है मैडम कि हमने जब देखा कि कंज्यूमर को एकदम रिलीफ पहुंचाने की जरूरत है, तो माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने 4 नवंबर 2021 को ये दाम कम किए और हमने और भी कदम उठाए और हम और भी कदम उठाने के तैयार हैं।
His specific question, kindly answer specific question. Honorable Minister.
नहीं, देखिए डीजल का दाम और करना है कम, नहीं करना है, these are decision। देखिए टैक्स इज वन कंपोनेंट।
डीजल का भी 10 करो, यही मेरा क्वेश्चन है।
डीजल का तो किया है आप भाई, मैं समझाने, पेट्रोल का 5 किया और डीजल का 10 किया। अच्छा, दूसरा मैं बताना चाहूंगा, राज्यों ने नहीं किया। जब मैं वो कहता हूं तो वो जो राज्य है वो लोग, उनको थोड़ी सी ये चीज चुभती है कि 9 स्टेट्स, महाराष्ट्र ने नहीं किया, केरला ने नहीं किया और स्टेट्स ने नहीं किया। देखिए, the taxation is only one aspect of it. At the end of the day, we have to provide relief to the consumer at the point of consumption, and a number of steps have been taken, and prices have not gone up. I would like to share some price data.
Kindly give a written reply to the member later, because we cannot have a debate.
Madam,
this is becoming a debate, sir.
It's not, madam, can I complete? This is crucial data.
Short answer, please.
I have the comparative data for USA, Canada, Germany, UK, France, Spain, Sri Lanka and India. All those countries, the price of petrol during this representative period has gone up by 50%, 55%, 58%, 55%. India, it has only gone up by 5%. We should be rejoicing that. Instead, what we are hearing from the distinguished members is, why has it not gone up? You have done it.
Kindly.
To assure the honorable member that we have not only done that in the past, but I would be happy to continue that effort to use whatever limited margin of persuasion we have with the state governments to request them also to reduce the VAT chargeable by them. In some of the cases, the VAT is exceptionally high, and especially when the price is high. But I still see that one point which is being mixed, that the price at the bunk has not gone up. In India, it's gone up by 5%. Rest of the world, it has gone up by 50%. We should be celebrating that in the interest of our consumer, rather than doing nitpicking that you have done this and I have done that. I can quote the specific article under which this has to be done. I think there have been several discussions. My own memory serves me right, and I believe also that the Kerala High Court at one stage specifically suggested that this be brought on the agenda of the GST Council. And since this requires the unanimity of the GST Council, the issue was, I think, taken up during a meeting of the GST Council, if I remember correctly, in Lucknow. And the proposal did not find favor. Sir, Madam, the honest God's truth is that states which are acquiring high revenue from the sale of petrol and petroleum products, and if I may also add liquor, they are normally reluctant to reduce their revenue from these two sources. And I'm particularly pained in one particular state, which I don't want to name here. They did not reduce the VAT on petrol, but they reduced all their revenue on liquor. So, well, these are priorities which state governments have to set for themselves, and these are also part of the philosophy on what you wish to encourage. But I am, with a sense of responsibility, I tell this House, the government has ensured, and the government will in the coming months also take whatever measures we have to make sure that our consumer gets relief to the extent we can. Now, the price of oil has gone up from $19.56 a barrel to 130 at one stage. Today it's down to 109 or so. Those are situations emanating from a warlike situation. But within that, whatever space we have, wiggle space and margin of persuasion, we should continue to exercise that in the interest of the Indian citizen and the consumer. Madam, आपके माध्यम से मैं ऑनरेबल मेंबर को बताना चाहूंगा कि सरकार का कोई इस प्रोसेस पे कब्जा नहीं है। अगर कब्जे की बात होती है, जब एडमिनिस्ट्रेड प्राइस मैकेनिज्म था 2010 तक, जून 2010 तक पेट्रोल पे, जब डीरेगुलेशन हुई, डीरेगुलेशन के बाद द प्राइस इज डिटरमिन्ड बाय द इंटरनेशनल प्राइस ऑफ क्रूड, द प्रिवेलिंग इंश्योरेंस एंड फ्रेट रेट्स, रिफाइनिंग मार्जिन्स, डीलर कमीशन एंड द एक्सचेंज रेट। इसलिए इसमें सरकार का कोई कब्जे की बात नहीं है। ऑयल मार्केटिंग कंपनीज इन अ सिचुएशन ऑफ अ डीरेगुलेटेड प्रोसेस, दे टेक द डिसीजंस। अब कभी ऐसा होता है कि कुछ पीरियड में उनकी जो रिकवरी है इससे वो बढ़ जाती है, और कुछ समय होता है, जैसे मुझे लगता है आजकल है, वो अंडर रिकवरी हो जाती है। इसमें ये मार्केटिंग डिसीजन उनको लेने चाहिए। जहां तक चुनाव के साथ ताल्लुकात है, मैं आपको बड़े स्पष्ट तरीके से बताना चाहूंगा, और आपको तो इसके बारे में ज्यादा जानकारी होती है। हमारे यहां तो 5 साल चुनाव तो होते रहते हैं। अभी 5 स्टेट्स में हुए चुनाव, आपको उसके बारे में जानकारी है। अभी और 5 स्टेट्स में आने जा रहे हैं, शायद अक्टूबर से वो भी होंगे। तो अगर किसी मार्केटिंग कंपनी ने जो निर्णय मार्केटिंग का लेना, वो तो लेंगे। हम क्या कर सकते हैं? हम ये कर सकते हैं कि जब हमें लगे इस पे इन्फ्लेशनरी वो है, हमने दाम कम किया। 4 नवंबर 2021 में हमने अपने कुछ स्ट्रेटेजिक पेट्रोलियम रिजर्व से और देशों के साथ मिलके कुछ हमने क्वांटिटी भी रिलीज की, शायद नवंबर 2021। हम और भी कदम उठाएंगे, पर इन दो चीजों को जोड़ना बिल्कुल सही नहीं होगा। ऐसे तो चुनाव, जैसे मैंने कहा, अभी 5 चुनाव खत्म हुए, दूसरे चुनाव शुरू हो जाएंगे, पर ऑयल मार्केटिंग कंपनीज को निर्णय लेने पड़े। अगर मान लीजिए, मैडम, as I said, the price was $19.56 on 25th March 2020, went up to 130, it's down to 109. Oil marketing companies will take their decisions. There will be other, they will proceed. Once they can no longer bear the, if they don't have the margin or the cushion, they will take the appropriate steps. Now, as far as we are concerned, we are doing a number of other steps. One, we are doing more ethanol blending. We have brought it, which was 1.4% in 2014. We brought it to 10%. We are doing other things. अब ऑनरेबल मेंबर ने ये भी पूछा कि वैक्सीन और रेवेन्यू खर्चा, तो आज मुझे शायद उम्मीद थी कि ऐसा प्रश्न पूछा जाएगा। तो आज हमने शायद 1.8 करोड़ वैक्सीन डोजेज एडमिनिस्टर किए हैं, और इस पे 35,000 करोड़ का खर्चा हुआ है। तो उसके दौरान, महामारी के दौरान, सिर्फ वैक्सीन पे खर्चा 35,000 करोड़ ही नहीं, लोगों को 80 करोड़ से अधिक हमारे नागरिकों को दिन का 3 समय का खाना, और एक स्कीम जो मार्च तक चल रही है, हमारे उज्ज्वला सिलेंडर्स। तो मैं अनेक ऐसी लिस्टें हैं जो महामारी के दौरान हमें करना पड़ा, और मुझे लगता है कि माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने यह निर्णय लिए। कोई भी सरकार होती, अगर उनको, if they are sensitive to the requirements of the people, these are steps that you have to do when economic activity comes down. And I am grateful to the Honorable Prime Minister, and so is the nation, as has been witnessed in the events of the last few days.
Second supplementary.
Madam, decisions regarding increase and those 63 occasions, I would like to remind the Honorable Member, some were increased and some were decreased. On 5th March, a political leader made a statement that fill up your tanks quickly because petrol prices are going to go up because the election is over. And the consumption went up by 20%. It is a matter of shame that one statement led to hoarding of 20%. I think we should be conscious of that. I'm very happy to name the person.
Honorable Minister, kindly avoid any controversy and please be specific.
No,
Answer to the question.
we are talking about
please
prices.
Avoid controversy and be specific.
It's an amazing situation. Let me, I'm not yielding. Please sit down. I find it amazing.
Please give us specific answer.
I will give a specific answer. Instead of celebrating that prices have not gone up, my honorable friend is lamenting that they have not gone up. And another one makes a statement and hoarding takes place for 20% after that. So what is it? Should we be controlling prices or should we be making statements to encourage hoarding?
Second
This is the issue.
supplementary.
Who is looting the country? 97% of their candidates lost their deposits. That is what the country's answer to this is. 97% of their candidates lost their deposit.
Sir,
That is the answer.
I'm calling
Who's
out.
looting? No, and now also, this is their answer. And Crisp, since a reference was made to looting, I would remind you that oil bonds were released, oil bonds were floated.
He has not raised that
No, the
question.
previous, let me continue.
No, we are only
Oil bonds are floated
concerned
for
with Binoy
1,40,000
Vishwamji's
crores,
question.
on which we have had to pay
Honorable
3,20,000 crores.
we are
That is
concerned
loot.
with only
And
Binoy
2G,
Vishwamji's
2G, coal scam, CWC. I don't want to get into who's looting whom. But on Venezuela, I would like to.
Honorable Minister, please don't create controversies. Come to the answer directly.
I
Let's
am
put a
answering
clear
through you,
question.
madam. Venezuela is a country which was an oil supplier where the oil
All other members,
Madam,
all
please.
other members, please sit down. All other members, please sit down.
Madam, Venezuela is
Mr.
a
John
country which
Gittas.
was subjected to sanctions by another country. It is our hope and expectation that the oil, not only from Venezuela but other countries under sanction, will become available, and that apart from the oil which will become available by countries who are not supplying on account of sanction, existing OPEC Plus will also increase their production, and I am hopeful that we will all use collectively our margin of persuasion, including the honourable members, to request the international community to make more oil available, including from the country that the honourable member has named, Venezuela. As soon as that oil comes into the market, oil companies will enter into agreements. Equally, Iran is another country which, on account of a particular deal with the United States, I think it's a nuclear issue. There are reports in the public domain that that issue is also likely to be resolved. That will also bring more oil into the market. As far as the government of India and the oil companies are concerned, we are not floating any oil bonds, madam, and passing the generation up. We will take all the other steps. We are not indulging in any of those other things which are culture of impunity, which I mentioned, 2G, CWC, etc. We will take all legitimate steps to try and maintain the price of oil at the bunk at a reasonable level. Thank you, madam.
Mohammed Abdullah.
That the issue of taking it before the GST and having GST coverage on this will depend in equal measure on the state governments. And as I said, we tried once on an earlier occasion, and we did not find the response that was required in order to have GST coverage on this.